Hi, it's Merhoff with another edition of One on OneZone, where we're introducing you to your elected officials. Today with us is J.D. Ford, our senator from District 29. So welcome, J.D.
Hi, Mo. Thank you.
Appreciate your spending some time with us. So we're on the cusp of a short session.
That's correct.
It's also an election year. I know sometimes that means people are worried about introducing new legislation, but what's on your mind as we're entering the new session? What things are you looking to do?
Yeah, so if I could just start by just chatting with you a little bit about what the short session means.
Right.
So basically, a short session is a non-budgetary session. Typically, it's between January to kind of middle of March. And why that's important is because this last session that we just completed in 2019 was a budgetary session, and that was from January to about April. And so just wanted to kind of point that distinction out. But so what that means is that it's going to be very fast-paced. I have not experienced a short session before, but everyone keeps telling me to buckle up. And so some of the things that I'm passionate about, we are seeing a lot of feedback come from teachers and how they feel about things that are going on in the state. They're just not quite satisfied with the progress we've made so far. I tend to agree with them. One of the things that was an unintended consequence from the last session was asking teachers to complete a 15-hour licensing requirement before they renew their license. And so I will have a bill to roll back that language. I think that just kind of snuck in at the last minute. Not too many people were aware of that, myself included. And so I'll have a bill to address that. Another bill that's important to me that I filed last year was what I call my Roncalli bill.
Yes.
So that's discrimination with students, staff, and faculty after they've been receiving public taxpayer dollars. And so I plan to refile that bill for the next session. And just some other constituent stuff. It's a short session, so we're only limited to about 10 bills, but I feel like I could do 50 bills with just some of the stuff that I've been accumulating since my first year in office.
Exactly. Well, you are in some ways in Indiana a bit of anomaly. You were elected as a Democrat.
That's correct.
In what has probably traditionally been considered a Republican district. So bipartisanship is sometimes, and more than not, how you're going to get things done.
That's right.
What have been your experiences, and what types of things are you doing to try to make those things happen and create a more bipartisan atmosphere?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, I'm one of 10 Democrats in the Senate Democrat caucus, and so because of that, in order for me to get things done, I have to work in a bipartisan way. I'm very proud to say that I was able to get one bill out this last session. I worked with Senator Merritt on Senate Bill 474. It dealt with homeless youth and some requirements around that. I was also able to get 2 amendments attached to different bills that were moving through the process, and so as a first-time legislator, I feel like that's a good first step.
Yes.
But more importantly, just being able to be in the chamber, work behind the scenes with other senators is so important, because that's how you build good relationships. That's how you build rapport. And a lot of this business is, your word. A lot of this business is working with other people. And so because of those good relationships, I feel like I have a good, strong footing for next session.
Terrific. Our chamber and many across the state worked very hard, as I know you did, on getting a hate crimes bill passed in Indiana. We were one of very few states without such legislation. And for many of us, it was a little bit of a difficult ending, because it was not that nothing got done, but perhaps it wasn't what we might have most wanted. I know that you were a no vote on that ending legislation, but it might be valuable to explain why you ended up not being able to vote for that.
Yeah, it was very disheartening to have to push the button for a no vote on that, but I felt that it was important because I just didn't feel that the hate crimes legislation protected everybody. There was some certain subgroups that were left out, particularly age, gender, and gender identity. And being a member of the LGBTQ community myself, I just did not feel like separating out the T from the LGBT was the right way to go. And I think, there's transgendered Hoosiers here in the state that was looking to us, to lead this conversation, and I feel like we let them down. It's important for me to really restart that conversation. As I was debating this bill, we had a Muslim man that was shot and killed in the district. We had a synagogue in Carmel that was desecrated, and the young man that was arrested, the FBI asked him, "Why did you do this?" He told the police officers, the law enforcement officers, that he wanted to disrupt the prayer service, and that's just hateful. And so we had the opportunity to send a strong message. It was a little watered down, but I do think, though, that we can restart that conversation and get everybody protected. I don't think that that's something that would stop us from doing that.
See that as a step, and maybe there are
Correct.
more to come.
Yeah, I would love to see us, restart that conversation.
We know it's a short session, as you've mentioned, which makes it fast and furious.
Yes.
If you had one thing you would like to get done, that might be your laser focus between now and March, what would you choose?
I really think it's that 15-hour requirement for teachers. That's a bill that is important to me. Teachers, they have it rough. Some of the teachers that I've talked to in my district, they are Airbnb-ing their house. They're driving for Uber on top of teaching, and so I feel like the legislature continues to make it more difficult for the teachers and for that profession. You don't see us, dabbling in other professions and asking for all these other additional extra requirements. And so I think that's one thing that we as the legislature can do. It's easy for us to do, and it would make a huge impact for our teachers in our state.
You have to skew a little bit younger as far as some of the representatives in the House and in the Senate.
Yeah.
What made you decide to throw your hat in the ring and run for this seat?
Yeah, that's a great question. I am the youngest member of the chamber, in the Senate chamber, but I think I bring a unique perspective to the table. Millennials, obviously, I'm proud to represent millennials across the state of Indiana, and we're starting to become more of a force, if you will. So I'm proud to be that voice. I ran for office because I wanted to help people, and I feel like I'm doing such. I think, I really pride myself on constituent services. So when people call or write our office, getting them the help that they need. But for me, I didn't see, the district being represented by our values. And so I looked around and said, well, who's going to do this? And the finger came back to me. I got to do this. So I put my hat in the ring and gave it my all, and here I am.
Terrific. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We hope that it's a smooth session.
I hope so too.
Not as frenetic as they always are, but if not, enjoy the ride.
Thank you.
And we'll stay in touch.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mel.